Okay, I'm here to help you with your problem, Jake. So for the first question, for number 1, it says to figure out which one of these sets of functions are inverses of each other. So composition just means a collection of functions. And so the way to tell that is to take the first one of each of the sets and exchange x for y, and then solve each for y, and then see if it matches the second one in the set. So I'm going to go ahead and work through each of those for you. Okay, so number 1, for A, you have y equals x squared minus 1. So I'm going to exchange those. Okay. I'm going to switch out x and y, and now I'm going to solve for y. So you'll see that you have x plus 1 is underneath the square root sign, and the original g of x is looking for a square root with x minus 1. These do not match. So therefore A is not going to be a good choice for us. Those are not inverses. Okay, so let's look at B. So B says y, or f of x, same thing, is x squared plus 1, and we have g of x is root x minus 1. Okay, so once again, I'm going to exchange x and y, and now I'm going to solve for y and see if it matches g of x. So these guys actually do match. So these are inverses. So B works. I'm not sure if this is going to be like a multiple scenario here where multiple answers can work. So let's go ahead and just check to be thorough. Okay, so once again, I'm going to exchange. So this is actually a y. I'm going to say x equals 4y plus 3. So I'm switching out the x for y. I'm going to now solve for y. So subtract 3 from each side. Oh, okay, so it looks like we should have a dividing by 4 going on. These do not match. Okay, and if you look at D, D is kind of the same setup. If you look at the example they give you for D, so D is not an inverse either. So the answer for your number 1 should just be B. Okay, so switching on to the next board. Okay, so it looks like for the next one, they want you to start with the original equation, which is, hold on, f of x equals 4 plus x squared. They want you to determine whether or not it's a function and then state its domain and range. Okay, so in order for it to be a function, it needs to be able to have a inverse, and then I can tell you about the domain and the range. Okay, so let's just figure out the inverse. So once again, we're going to exchange the x and the y. Let's see, hold on. There we go. All right, so I'm going to solve for y. So subtract 4. So x minus 4 equals y squared. I'm going to square root each side. All right, so I'm going to flip sides here. Y is it going to equal the square root of x minus 4. Okay, so for this guy, we're going to look at the domain. Okay, so this is the inverse function. And then another way you can write this in the fancy way is with a little -1 there. Okay, so the domain deals with x. Okay, so what can I put in? My apologies. What can I put in for x here that's allowed that will work? Okay, so negative numbers under here are no good. Okay, so 0 is okay and positive numbers. All right, so what would make it 0? 4 and anything greater than 4. So x greater than or equal to 4, if you sub it in for x, will be all the possibilities for x that would be okay. So then we would write that by saying x, little funky squiggle, where x is greater than or equal to 4, and the funky squiggle. Now they want to know about the range. Well, the range is all reals. So what can y be? Well, it doesn't really matter what y is in this case because the graph for this guy is going to be, I think a square root graph is going to be kind of like that. No, that's logarithmic. Let's just ignore that graph for right now. I have to graph it on something else. So the graph doesn't really matter for right now, but so for us, we're just looking at all reals. You really don't have any other choices if you look at the answer choices that you have. That deals with your ability to, like, what numbers can you put in for y that will work, and any y values will work for you. So I hope that helps you at least for the idea of how to figure out what an inverse is. So change f of x to y so it looks like a regular equation, change out x for y, and then solve for y, and that will give you the inverse. All right, thanks.